Welcome to the presentation of Basics of Websphere MQ Messaging. In this presentation, we'll cover the introduction to the basic components of MQ. We'll download the Websphere MQ from the IBM website. We'll install and create the MQ component. We'll also put a message, and I will also show you how the graphical browser looks like, which does not come with the trial version. So watch this presentation till the end. Thank you. In this presentation, we'll cover the two modes of operation, point-to-point as well as publish-subscribe mechanism. Now, in point-to-point, what happens is that application program connects to MQ queue manager, sends a message on a particular queue, and another application, which is the receiving side, which wants to receive this message, consumes the message from the queue. So what happens in point-to-point connectivity is that only one receiving program can consume the message. And if it consumes that message, the message is deleted from the queue. Now, if you have multiple consumers consuming to that same queue and trying to receive the message from the queue, only the first consumer which consumes it first or polls it first receives the message. Therefore, hence the name point-to-point connectivity. In publish-subscribe mechanism, you can see that there could be a possibility that you have something to share, like a news broadcasting or a blog or a periodic updates, and there are a lot of subscribers or a lot of receivers who want to have that information. So in this case, we would have a publisher publish that message to a particular topic, and then you have multiple subscribers getting that same message out of that particular topic. So in this case, a publisher broadcasts the message and subscriber receives all the broadcasting from the publisher. In this presentation, we'll cover the basic components of MQ. So the basic components of MQ are the queue manager, queue, the listener port, the channels. Now the queue manager is a program that provides messaging services to application, and it can have one or more queues and topics. And queue manager ensures that the messages are sent to a proper queue, and the application is able to receive the message or put the message on that particular queue. For this example, in our presentation, we'll consider the queue manager as QMGR, which you're going to create through a command line utility. Next, we'll consider the concept of queue. Now, queue is a container of all the messages. The queue resides within the queue manager. So, within the queue manager, you'll have multiple queues also. In our example, we'll consider creating a queue called Q1 under the queue manager, QMGR. Now, next one is the listener port. Listener port is a sensing port for the queue manager to accept and receive messages from an application program. So in this example, we created a TCP port listener at port number 5001. Next, we would cover the channels. So in channels, we have like a unique directional and a bidirectional channel. So unidirectional channel is used while communicating between the two queue managers. So if you have multiple queue managers in your project, in that case, one queue manager can talk to another queue manager. So using the unidirectional channels. In bidirectional channels, we have an application program talking to the queue manager, in which the communication is bidirectional, like application sending out the messages, queue manager sending back the responses, or the application is able to receive the message back from the queue manager. So this is a bidirectional queue manager, a bidirectional channel. So these channels are categorized further into different types, that is sender, server connection, receiver, requester, cluster sender, and cluster receiver channel. So please pause this video and go through the definitions of each and every channel. But in our application program, we would be using a server connection channel, which is used by the application to send and receive messages. So this channel is a bidirectional channel. Downloading the Websphere MQ component. Google on Websphere MQ trial version, and it will take you to the website of IBM, wherein you would have to create a user ID password for the download. And the latest version which we downloaded at the time of this presentation was 9.3. So after downloading the MQ zip file, click extract it and click the setup.exe file, and it will take you to the launchpad, and then you install all the components. So the next slide, we would see how the components are created by using a command line window. So we are going to create a queue manager called QMGR1, then the queues, queue as Q1, and then we'll create a listener, and we'll also put the message on the queue and see the message on. So in the previous presentation, you saw how we can create a queue manager queue using a command line utility program, and how we can put and view the message on the particular queue. So MQ also comes with a MQ browser wherein you can view the queue manager using a graphical user interface, and you can also see the queue. But this does not come up with the trial version. So this is a screenshot which I'm showing you from the paid version. In this presentation, we can have a look at MQ browser screenshot wherein we can see the queue manager queue and how we can put a message on a particular queue. So the left hand side screenshot shows that we are going to put a message called as putting the message on the queue, and we are going to put it in the queue manager QMGR1, and the queue name is Q1. And on the right hand side, we can see how we can browse the message on a particular queue after we have put it on the particular watching this presentation. So in this presentation, we just provided the basic introduction to the MQ series. In the coming up new presentations, we'll show you how we can write a small Java program to connect to MQ and send the messages onto the MQ. So stay tuned for the further presentations, and please do like, subscribe, and press the bell icon for the further notifications. Thank you.